Before we get into this video, please remember to check out themeparkjack.com, which is now a fully blown theme park vlog with news, reviews and predictions already on there and on its way very soon. So welcome back to the channel then. Here we are today talking about all the new roller coasters coming to the Sea World Parks chain in 2020. I did actually want to hold off on making this video for a while in hopes that the parks would actually release some POVs that of the actual rides, some on-ride POVs that I could then talk through. But unfortunately I haven't, and I've left it about a week now. So today I'm just going to talk through it. Obviously it's not a reaction video. I've known about it. You'll have all known about it for about a week. But I just want to talk about it, give my thoughts on some of the rides, and just talk about whether they're a good fit for all the parks that they're going to, and will it revive the SeaWorld Parks and Attractions chain or not. So before we get into talking about all the different coasters individually, I first just want to answer the question, why on earth are they adding a new coaster to every single park besides Sesame Place? And I think the simple answer to that is the fact that they've just been really struggling over the past couple of years. And clearly, from the point of view that they're taking, is that they just want to invest in the hopes that hopefully that'll attract a lot more visitors to the park, and hopefully start making some more of a profit for them, because they haven't been doing so well over the past few years at all. Ever since that Netflix documentary Blackfish came out, which was quite a few years back now. I mean, obviously some of the stuff that was revealed in that about the way they were treating some of their animals was absolutely horrific, but yeah, it did pretty much cripple the chain. And clearly from their point of view, the way to try and fight back and try and attract visitors back to their parks is to invest in every one of them. So today I'm going to be talking about all of them and giving my opinions on the coasters. Okay, so firstly we're going to talk about Busch Gardens in Tampa Bay, Florida. They are doing a Rocky Mountain construction redo of the former Gwazi Julian wooden coasters. Now, these were two wooden coasters that raced each other. Very big wooden coasters. They were very famous, and they did close down the other year. I have actually been on one of them because they closed one track a couple of years earlier than the other. They were just in really bad condition. But yeah, I have been on one of them. I can't really remember my thoughts on it because it was that long ago. When I went on it before they shut, because these rides shut, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. But as I was talking about a few minutes ago, they had that little money, the SeaWorld parks, that they've just not had the money to do this to the coaster. And obviously, you know, it's taken quite a couple of years in the kind of planning and development stages for this new ride. So it's going to have a length of 4,075 feet. Again, that's because they're turning two coasters into one coaster, so of course it's going to be longer than most rides are. Second type of hybrid coaster it will be, 206 feet tall. It will be the same as Steel Vengeance it now is at Cedar Point. There is also Zarja that opened up at Energylandia, but that apparently is going to be will have a bit less of a speed than this one will, because Zarja's drop at Energylandia isn't quite as big as what Iron Gwazi's will be. So sorry, yeah, that was three hyper hybrid coasters. It'll have 12 airtime moments, 3 inversions, and a total ride length of 1 minute and 50 seconds. So it's going to be quite a long ride. I mean, for RMCs anyway, because usually they are very quick. They're action packed. You don't have much time to kind of sit there and relax at all. They're very much, you know, going quickly through them elements, you know, fast transitions, really nice and intense, and it should be a great ride. I'm not a massive fan of the name, because I think really in the eyes of the general public who are going there, they're just going to look on this as, all right, they've just retracked the Gwazi coaster with the whole name Iron Gwazi. I think they should have gone for a unique theme, something new, like they did up at Cedar Point, just like they've done with Robin Hood becoming Untamed at Wallaby Holland. You know, with most of these, you know, they do come up with quite a new name that didn't really rely on the former one, and it's not just trying to be kind of like a gimmick of the old ride. The only place that does that is Six Flags. I think Iron Gwazi is a very kind of Six Flags-esque name, where they'll just slap something onto the old name of the coaster before. It's like over at Six Flags over Georgia, you had the former Cyclone coaster, and then that just becomes Twisted Cyclone. You know, you've got rides like Colossus just becomes Twisted Colossus. I think it is. I don't think it's the best of names, to be honest. But I am looking forward to what they do with the ride, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Okay then, so now we're going to talk about Sea World in San Diego, California. Now this will have a length of 2,500 feet, a height of 153 feet, and will have a drop of 143 feet. It will have 3 inversions, an Immelman, a barrel roll and a corkscrew. It will have 3 car trains, very similar to the ride you're watching now, and 18 riders per train, and there will be floorless trains, so your legs will be dangling at the floor. Right, so you're watching a POV now of Valkyria from Liseberg, because the park actually hasn't released a POV of the new coaster coming next year, which is a shame. I would have liked to have done it, have shown it yet, but the stats on this are very similar. We're talking about like 2 or 3 feet height difference, the same number of inversions. You know what I mean? It is pretty much the same. I mean, obviously it is a different layout, but I'm just trying to show you what the ride will kind of be like. Now, the name of it will be Mako. That is the same as the B&M Hypercoaster down in Orlando. I'm not a massive fan of that, of the fact that we've repeated it. However, obviously, Florida and California are quite away from each other, and I can live with it, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, they are 2 very different types of rides, so people shouldn't get confused with it. And a lot of people going to both California and Florida are tourists, and you're not going to both of them, are you? You're going to one or the other. So you will know Mako as either the dive coaster or the hyper coaster, depending on whether you go on holiday to Florida or California. So I am quite a big fan of this ride. I do fear it might be the underdog, kind of, with some of the other B&M dive coasters who are in the States. I mean, just look at like Valraven at Cedar Point, Yukon Striker over at Canada's Wonderland, up in Canada, obviously. I mean, they do kind of make this the underdog a bit. However, for the size of the park, SeaWorld San Diego, I do think it will be a really good fit. I mean, remember, SeaWorld San Diego was a small park a couple of years ago. Now, over these past few years, they've just been adding coaster after coaster. You know, a Skyrocket 2, one of them Skyline attractions, Skywarp coasters last year. It is really good, and I think that this park has definitely got a bright future. The Texas Stingray is coming to SeaWorld in San Antonio, Texas. This will be a Great Coasters International wooden coaster. However, it will have a steel support structure, just as that is easier to maintain. It will still be the wooden tracks. You'll still get the classic wooden coaster feeling. It just will make it a bit easier for them to maintain by having the steel structure. This ride will have a length of 3,379 feet. It will have a height of 96 feet and a 100-foot drop. So this definitely is one of them family thrill rides. Very similar to kind of Invader over at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. And similar also to the Wicker Man at Alton Towers. However, this does look a lot bigger than that still, and a lot better too. It will go at 55 miles per hour as well, which is a pretty decent top speed for a ride like this. And it's just going to be a great ride. The name of it, I think it's fine. Again, I'm not very impressed with a lot of these names, really. I think the Texas Stingray, I think if SeaWorld are kind of trying to punt at the more kind of like theme park market, then I don't really think that Texas Stingray is the best of names. Again, that does sound kind of very Six Flags-esque. Not that there's really anything wrong in that. I'm just saying that, you know, that's kind of how it sounds. But yeah, it's an alright name, I guess. There's nothing majorly wrong with it. So yeah, it will be a wooden coaster. It's going to zoom all the way through the forest. And it does look like a brilliant ride. There is a rumour going around that apparently they might be using the old trains from Gwazi at Busch Gardens in Tampa. I was just talking about it obviously a couple of minutes ago. One of the old trains for that, or I think actually 2 of them, have gone over to Invader in Williamsburg. However, I think there are another 2 remaining that are possibly going here. All new Pantheon coming to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia, will be a 178 foot tall, 72 mile an hour new multi-launch roller coaster manufactured by Intamin. It will feature 3 launches, it will have 2 inversions and will have a vertical drop. The ride will be located inside the Festa Italia area of the park, also home to the B&M Hypercoaster Apollo's Chariot, and home to another triple launch coaster called Tempesto. That is a Premier Ride Skyrocket 2, and I do think that that ride is going to be basically rendered useless after this. I mean, if you think about it, they're both basically doing the same thing. They're both triple launch coasters, the exception being that this is going to be far better, it's going to go faster, it's higher, and let's be honest, it's got a lot more to it. It is using one of them new Intamin high-speed switch tracks, just like what they're building on the new coaster coming to Parc Asterix in France, and that will mean that the coaster actually doesn't have to stop and it can just go straight onto the launch track, do its thing, the backwards and forwards thing, straight over an airtime top hat. That's where you're reaching that top height of 178 feet. You then go straight down a 92 degree drop, so straight down vertical, beyond vertical, which is again is great for a coaster that tall. I mean, most coasters of that height don't go vertical. I mean, most B&M Hypers certainly don't anyway, so I think that that's really good. Kind of reminds me of a dive coaster that way, it's a straight down drop from a big height. It will then have some quick high speed turns, some inversions, some airtime hills, and then we'll hit the brakes. It definitely won't be a long ride, however I don't think it really needs to be. That's definitely not what this is aiming for. It's aiming to be one of them rides, just like Max Force that's just opened at Six Flags Great America, that gives you the thrill quick, literally. Icebreaker is a brand new family thrill launch coaster coming to Sea World Orlando next year. The ride will be made by Premier Rides and will reach heights of 93 feet and speeds of 52 miles per hour. It will have a 100 degree beyond vertical drop, which I think is great, and will actually have 4 launches. You'll launch forwards and backwards twice each way before gaining enough speed to make the 93 foot top hat, obviously giving you some quite good airtime, floater airtime as you go over that. The ride won't have any inversions, as I said it is a family thrill ride. There will however be lots of high speed turns and airtime hills. It won't be a very long ride either, however I don't think it really needs to be. I think after some other thrilling additions lately, such as the B&M Hypercoaster Mako, I think this is definitely a good fit for the park. I think Premier Rides are clearly a manufacturer that get along with very well. However, my only thoughts on this is that I'd probably rather have gone with Mack Rides instead of Premier, simply because of the restraints on it. So this has got something called comfort collars, and it's basically these dead big thick seat belts that they kind of like, it's not a normal seat belt the way you wear it. It kind of like goes over your shoulders and like down your stomach, then like locks onto the restraint. I think how it works. I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest. So yeah, it's like basically it's 2 seat belts, one either side of your head, and they go down and connect onto the bar. I'm not a massive fan of that. I think it really is overkill for a coaster of this size. I mean, fair enough if they want to put that on some bigger coasters. I'm still not a fan of that, really. I mean, I think it is a bit overkill still. I really like, and probably the best manufacturer they could have gone with is actually Intamin. Their new trains that they've got on there are brilliant. They're these tiny thin little lap bars and they're absolutely great. I'm meaning the trains that they've got on like Tega over at Lynn and Mackey, and my favourite roller coaster in the world, Taron. Those trains make that ride. They are absolutely fantastic, and they give you some real freedom to enjoy the ride. The only reason why I can see they've gone with this is of course because a lot of kids riding this are going to be very young, and it'll probably comfort them into riding it more, you know, make them feel a bit safer if there are them comfort collars on there. I mean, obviously they're not needed for safety at all, the lap bar is completely adequate, but it's just you know, entices people on a bit more because the way the general public will look at it is that it is safer, so that's fair enough. I do like the theme of it. I mean, the colour scheme is a bit out there. I mean, for Icebreaker, I don't really know how they've gone like with an orange colour, but I mean, it does actually look quite good though, and then you've got kind of like the teal colour like supports. So yeah, I am a big fan of this ride, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. I think it will be a good fit for SeaWorld Orlando. I think they have got a great collection of roller coasters at that park now, and I do look forward to see how it turns out. So wow, what a year 2020 is going to be for the SeaWorld parks. In my opinion, they are definitely leading in terms of the American park chains, in terms of the new additions next year. I mean, you look at Cedar Fair, they're getting one new coaster. Six Flags, in fairness, is getting a few. But I mean, still, let's be honest, the SeaWorld parks are definitely leading in terms of the new roller coasters they're adding next year. I do think that all of them are going to be very good fits. I mean, I haven't really got many criticisms for any of them. I think that they clearly have put a lot of time into this, and they have worked out the best coasters for each park. I mean, you know, if you think about it, all of the parks were really missing this from their lineup, kind of this type of coaster. The only exception to that probably is Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. However, they're not really missing much either, so I can't really blame them for putting in Pantheon, a better triple launch coaster, as it does kind of really one-up Tempesto. And let's be honest, if they're going to try and improve any category of coaster they've got there, that is definitely the best one. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Stay tuned for lots to come. I mean, lots of different theme park vlogs and lots of other content from different theme parks across the world. And I'll see you in the next video, which will definitely be coming up very soon. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThemeParkJack, and check out my blog, themeparkjack.com. I'll see you very soon. Bye now.